Calaroga Shark Media.
Hi there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy, comedians in the comedy industry, a sentence Spotify seems to like a lot. Is it cold enough for you? I hope you and your family are safe, as depending where you live, you got between 2 and 200 million inches of snow, so I hope you guys are okay. Let me start off with Matt Baloney on Threads. Now, if you don't know Matt, he's an entertainment reporter. He's got a podcast, and he writes for Puck. He posted Pete Davidson's new quote-unquote video podcast. So this is one of my pet peeves. If you follow my Substack, and it's free, and there's a link in the show notes, and if you follow me on LinkedIn, you know that I can't stand things being called podcasts that are not podcasts. And there's no definition at all in which Pete Davidson's TV show is a podcast. It's just not. It's a Netflix show. Matt Baloney writes on social media, Pete Davidson's new quote-unquote video podcast will air only on Netflix. Isn't that just a non-union talk show? SAG-AFTRA and Netflix continue to have discussions regarding the Pete Davidson project, a union rep tells me. Very interesting. Yeah, I've seen people in the industry talk about that. At some point, something's not a podcast, and the tweet speaks for itself. I'm not getting into a labor dispute, but very, very interesting. So we'll see what happens with this Pete Davidson thing. Did you watch Free Bert? I made it 9 minutes in. I'm an admitted comedy snob. It was tolerable, and then they did the scene with the fake podcast, which was just too cartoony for me, and then the Mean Girls high school scenes, and I'm like, I just don't want to watch this show. It might be fine. It's not for me. Bert got a wax job from The Hollywood Reporter last week. They talked about his gimmick of taking off his shirt, and that it was fun when he was the only guy doing it, The Hollywood Reporter said. Then along came Jason Kelce, and entire stadiums full of college kids. Bert says, with a whiff of frustration in his voice, now it's like everyone's shirtless. Plus, Kreischer found he could barely decipher his own past specials, as they all featured him in a uniform of jeans and nothing else. Bert says, so I thought, what if I wore a full suit in the next special? Wife Leanne pushed him to reconsider and said, only do it if you want to. But Kreischer didn't really want to. So he's going to continue just as he has with no shirt. Good question by The Hollywood Reporter. They said, when we spoke in 2023, you thought Hollywood didn't know what to do with you. How about now? Bert says, you know what's so funny is that I feel like they knew what to do with me more then than they do now. Hollywood's in a weird place. Back then, they'd greenlight a $35 million movie for a guy like me. Now that'll never happen. Now they're trying to figure out what they're doing with movies. Lately, the price point is $3 million to $7 million, which is something affordable to go to streamers. But I remember having a conversation with one of the head people at Netflix when my movie was coming out. That movie, The Machine. We were in a suite at a Lakers game, and I was like, I just hope my movie does well in theaters. And this person who remained nameless said, I hope it doesn't. Bert says, why? Unnamed person says, because if it doesn't do well in theaters, it's going to murder on Netflix. That's what happened. I was like, GD, they know the effing algorithm. But people in Hollywood are scrambling to try to figure out what's happening next. I mean, I've had so many meetings about so many different avenues of revenue in this business. People bringing things to me that are like, start your own website, get on a streaming platform, sign an overall deal. I mean, if I had someone offer me $100 million to make 10 movies like Adam Sandler meets Abbott and Costello, hey, I stumbled into that last week. I hadn't even pre-read this. I think that was Thursday's episode. Go back and listen to that one. Back to Kreischer. If someone offered me $100 million, like Adam Sandler meets Abbott and Costello, but it's always a Bert adventure. So no, I don't think Hollywood knows what to do with me. And what sucks is I have to figure it out before they do. Hollywood was out at the screening of Mel Brooks, the 99-year-old man, the new Judd Apatow documentary. Mel Brooks was there himself. He said, I'm very happy about anything that has to do with me that's positive. The 99-year-old man chronicles Mel Brooks' romance with his second wife, Anne Bancroft, and his bromance with Carl Reiner, who passed away in 2020. It also features interviews with comedians including Jerry Seinfeld, Ben Stiller, Dave Chappelle, and the great dramatic actor Adam Sandler. Star Trek ruiner Patton Oswalt was there and said he wasn't afraid to show his influences, which is really gutsy. Clean that up a little. Judd's busy. Not only the Mel Brooks doc, he's making a documentary about Maria Bamford. Paralyzed by Hope, the Maria Bamford story, premiering at Sundance. Apatow's premise: he's perplexed and fascinated by Bamford, who exists in a strange category. She's won awards and gained quite a bit of mainstream visibility and success, but her brand of humor is something of an acquired taste, built as it is on confessional discomfort. I've talked about this in the past. There are people who love Maria Bamford, and there are people that are like, yeah, she's fine. I'm in the latter camp. In the Bamford film, Conan O'Brien says 99% of comedians will tell you they have anxieties, and you understand it's a shtick. Maria's like a lobster whose shell has been removed. Jimmy Fallon got quite the puff piece in The Hollywood Reporter. They spoke with Chris Miller, the showrunner of The Tonight Show, and the premise here was how cool The Tonight Show is with the kids today and how they're staying relevant. Chris Miller said, Jimmy will text all day long. He saw this on TikTok, or this was fun on Instagram, or what if we did that? He's in it immensely. Head of digital Nick Dyer added, it's very much like a back-and-forth conversation we're having when we have these guests on the show to make sure that we're putting together something that doesn't just feel like we're hopping on a trend. Got news for you, head of digital Nick Dyer. Miller says The Tonight Show is going to be on for 75 years a couple years from now. The Tonight Show debuted in 1954. We'll add 75, so that gets us 2029, if I did the math right. Miller said, I always think, how many things have happened in the industry over those 75 years where people are like, what are we going to do now? This is a moment. Let's not overcorrect. Let's not overreact to anything. All of a sudden, you've got cable television, you've got DVR, then the internet. I always sort of think at its core, wherever you're consuming The Tonight Show, it's going to be the familiar Tonight Show. It shouldn't ever feel that different or be that different. We want a fun monologue. We want comedy. We'll maybe do some Act 2 comedy with a guest, maybe with audience members. We want great interviews where we get the talent to do something they haven't seen before, music that you're hearing about. Head of digital Nick Dyer says, I think from a traditional long-form, lean-back viewing standpoint, YouTube is still that platform where you can consume the full extended interviews that we have, because Jimmy will talk to guests for much longer than what we can fit into our linear broadcast. Dyer says, so that's a great thing for people to check out after the show for more back and forth with Jimmy and guests. And then you try to look at something like TikTok and Instagram, and that's where you tend to see the lion's share of those clips that go viral, where it's these short moments that are clipped out to go out on different social platforms. USA Today profiled Taskmaster. Taskmaster Greg Davies told USA Today, we have no idea, rather we have a developing idea of how popular the show is. They're doing live shows in the U.S. Last year when we came and did a show in New York, we were blown away by people stopping us in the streets. We had no idea what to expect. And the same was true of this tour. We sort of had an idea that the show was popular on YouTube, but we've been amazed by the enthusiasm. Jason Mantzoukas was on season 19. Kumail Nanjiani will be on season 21. Some of the wish list of other American comedians includes Sarah Silverman, Mike Birbiglia, Ali Wong, and Conan O'Brien. But Davies says they're down to have anybody who understands the show. I think the show would be really fun with someone like Conan, who's used to being the funniest person in the room and the person who's pulling all the levers and making the things happen. It'd be fun to see him exist in our controlled world. On Taskmaster, Davies acts as a dictator, judging comedians for their performances in 5 absurd takes an episode like, eat as much watermelon as you can in 1 minute. Meanwhile, while you're watching TV, do you watch Jeopardy? It was the Jeopardy Tournament of Champions. Kamau Bell was one of the champions in the semifinals. Spoilers. I don't know, did you tape last week's Jeopardy and you're waiting 5 days to watch it? Spoilers anyway. Kamau Bell played against Alex from Brooklyn and Ashley from Texas. Alex took the early lead. He found the daily double, wagered $4,600. The clue, this Ontario city with a stormy name uses the slogan superior by nature. Alex answered, what is Toronto? Ken Jennings said, sorry, no, Thunder Bay on Lake Superior. That dropped Alex down to $0. He was tied with Kamau Bell by the first commercial break. Anyway, then they played the second round. Kamau Bell in third place with $2,600. The category for Final Jeopardy, 18th Century Arts. The clue, a word book from the London premiere of this work began with the quote, Majora Canimus. Let us sing of greater things. Bell's question was, what is 3 people who have Nev? He wagered $0. He finished with $2,600. He did not win the game. Coming up at noon Eastern today, the results of Comedy Survivor Week 3. Now, I haven't actually produced that yet. By the time you're hearing this, I will have produced it. But as I record on Friday, I haven't done it yet because I was going to do it Friday morning, and then Uncle Floyd passed away, and I did the tribute episode and didn't get to Comedy Survivor yet as I speak this sentence, but it'll be out today at noon Eastern. If you're enjoying daily comedy news, you will love the ad-free version. No commercials. What do I got to do, John? That sounds great. Well, you open up Apple Podcasts. There's a banner there. It says uninterrupted listening. You click that. You do whatever it tells you to do, and you get a 30-day free trial of Plus. And with Plus, no commercials. Then after 30 days, it's $4.99 a month. That's a great way to support the show. Appreciate that. Kyle Gass has confirmed to Rolling Stone that Tenacious D will return. He says, we're going to come back. It's going to be bigger than Oasis. Now, you may remember back in July of 2024, Gass was on stage, and he made a joke that the next would-be assassin of a very famous person would not miss. Gass said, it was terrible judgment. Obviously, I felt terrible ever since because it's such a responsibility not to screw up like that. The tour wound up getting canceled Jack Black distanced himself. Gass said, "We had to take a break, and I get it. Jack has this magnificent career. I can't even count the franchises now. So as hard as it was, I just had to take the long ride home." All right, when will the reunion happen? Gass says, "We will serve no D wine before it's D time." Meanwhile, the Kyle Gass Band has released their new album Live in Palmdale on a Special Thing Records. The KGB's album is 12 tracks, recorded at their live shows, out on vinyl and digital. Two serious stories to bring us home from the New York Post, sourcing TMZ, I believe. Newly surfaced video allegedly captured comedian Corey Holcomb punching a female comic in the face outside a Hollywood club. Reports say that several bystanders rushed Corey Holcomb and tackled him to the ground. The woman filed a battery report with the LAPD. Authorities never arrested Corey Holcomb, according to TMZ. Law enforcement sources say the confrontation stemmed from a month-long dispute between the two comedians. Meanwhile, Russell Brand, not sure he's taking this too seriously. After being hit with 2 additional counts of rape and sexual assault on top of 5 similar charges he previously pleaded not guilty to, Russell Brand said, "Never mind anything else, this court sketch is an injustice." Apparently he doesn't like the way he was drawn. And that's your comedy news for today. Back at noon Eastern with Comedy Survivor. See you then.